What's good? What's happening, YouTubers? Okay. Today, we're just gonna be focusing more on the talent in Scotland. A lot of people probably don't even know where Scotland is, and probably don't even know there's a lot of talent in Scotland. This documentary, struck vlog, will show all the producers, musicians, rappers, dancers, instrumentalists that are really talented here in Scotland. I mean, there's more to cover, but we kind of had to choose a few that we could get hold of so that you guys can watch and enjoy. I hope you like this video. If you finish and you like the documentary stock vlog, subscribe for more. Every week we'll be dropping new videos from now on till the end of time. And we've got a movie coming out next month, so watch out for that as well. 19 Wheeler Plex. It's going to be dropping on YouTube. Hope you enjoy this. Let's go.
Oh, I like this one. I mean, I'm gonna present the way I make it. So. Oh, I feel it. I feel it. Yeah, quick, something really quick.
Let me see your lights up. We don't wanna go home. You don't wanna go home. We don't wanna go home.
First of all, got inspired when I was probably by the age of 6, and it's all about the culture. Like back home, my parents are from Congo, so we kind of grew up in that music lifestyle. You know, in parties, parents would be dancing and we'll be joining in. So it just started from there, and then eventually I started watching street dance movies. That's how I got into it.
I'm 9 years old. It's really thrilling just to know that you're the world champion in Irish music.
Well, it was really fun and I enjoyed playing there, and I was a bit nervous beforehand, but while I'm playing I just enjoy playing and living the moment.
We grew up in Scotland, both learning instruments from a very young age. We started in primary school and then we went to a specialist music school in Glasgow, and we always played together. Right from the very start. I was 4 years old when I started, Sarah was 7. And we always put on concerts here at home for our parents, and then it gradually got more and more serious until we became an established duo about 2 years ago.
Yeah, sure. So I go by the name of Jake Lewis. I'm a hip hop artist, songwriter. I'm signed to Wardlaw Music Publishing based in London. Right now I'm working on my second album. Hopefully going to be ready for the end of 2018.
Baby.
Ready to
shut it down, man.
You ready?
I've always had a passion for music from being a young age. I remember listening to the likes of Michael Jackson, Eminem, even the likes of 50 Cent, and I think that those guys were like really inspiring. I grew up in a small fishing village, so looking for inspiration, you always had to look out with where I was from, I suppose.
So when I was 16, I came through, this is G5, this is the Gorbals.
Yes.
And I was a 16-year-old, it's a rough area, you know. So everyone was like, who's that lassie in this game? In general, in folk rock, I was like, I would probably say like an outcast, because I was into all this different music, and all my friends were into Spice Girls and all that, so it was hard to find someone to listen to tunes with, you know how you get friends.
I came here in Scotland and I changed totally my music because I used to make like hip hop beats, and I used to produce for other artists, like, you know, hip hop beats and stuff. And when I came to Scotland, I had this idea of like trying to change to become like, you know, electronic music producer. And I had to come, like, you know, because I changed country, I changed culture, I changed so many friends, people, family, you know. So I changed family, like friends and stuff, yeah. So basically I had to like to change my nickname as well, you know, like just to be like Boy Panda. So stick to me, like you know. Okay. So next day I made the Facebook and everything and Instagram, so I felt like.
My name is Frank McCardle, and I've been teaching traditional Irish music for 40 years. It's music that I've always enjoyed, and when I started, I was a maths teacher in St Roch's Secondary School. I ran a folk club and I decided to go a bit further and teach people some traditional Irish music in the school. So I got a few whistle players, a couple of fiddlers and a boy who played the accordion. I also got involved in the organisation Cultus Kiltere Erin, which is the Traditional Irish Music Association. It's been on the go in Glasgow now for 60 years, and for the last 40 I've been involved in teaching the large number of children that now come to our classes every Tuesday night in St Roch's School.
You'll have goosebumps. If you haven't seen these kids play, you just will have goosebumps. I'm so proud to stand here and give you the new under 12 Group of Kjol World Champions. Give them a big hand.
We're also very lucky that we have 20 tutors who come, young people who teach every week, and they do it on a voluntary basis. They don't charge anything. When they were young, they weren't charged for their lessons. It's just part of the atmosphere in the organisation that we teach, we don't charge, and people come back and put something further into the system, into the organisation.
My name is David Brown. I'm the Provincial Youth Officer for Cultus in Britain, and I play the piano and the piano accordion. I've been playing with Cultus for about 14 years now, and I've been teaching maybe for 6 or 7 of those.
Yeah, my name's Patricia McCardle. I play the flute and I teach the flute at Cultus, and I also teach the 12 to 15 group. I've been teaching for 13 years, and I've been playing for about 22.
I go by 77. My name is Andre. I'm a director at Forge, which is a company I started with some friends, hence the creative collective, Forge, F-O-R-I-J. So we are a production company, we're a management and a talent agency.
In the community, what I have been doing really is just using a number of different mediums and formats to say the same things. My interests have always been showing the perspective of people who come from kind of socially deprived backgrounds, what their experience is like, how a lot of people see the world, and the barriers that they might come up against when they either try to do something about it, or when they are dealing with some of the pressures that come with growing up in that environment, whether it's stress or family dysfunction or violence, alcoholism, drug dependency, and that's been really what I've been doing since I was a kid.
For me, when I look at these kids, I see myself in the past. Because in the past, I was one of these kids. Like, I had nowhere to train. We used to come in town, busk outside. We used to look for places to train. There wasn't really anybody, like a role model, to really look after us back then. And now I feel like these kids, they've got an opportunity. And they've got people like us around them. That's the new generation right now. And we're able to give them what we didn't have. That's what I see in the scene right now.
stop me. I'm on you with got. Get out my way. We on the move. Coming through. Coming step two. Got. Move. Coming through. Coming to top. We on the move. Boom, boom. Kyle.
Scotland has been great for us because there was a system in place to enable us to have music education for free from primary school right up to secondary school, and even at the Conservatoire, the Royal Conservatoire of Scotland, all that education was paid for.
Well, I started out as a dancer first. You remember those days, you know. If I go back to MBS, that was my first time making music with these boys. We started a band, a group, it was 3 of us, but we all started out dancing together. We did hip hop, and we would dance. And then one day we were chilling at a friend's house, one of our houses, and we were on the stairs, but then we couldn't get in the house. So now we're chilling on the stairs waiting for Big Brother to come back with the keys, so we're like, safe, we got time to kill. One of us plays an instrumental. We just came fresh out of dance practice, feeling inspired. Next thing, one of us said a line. The line was on time and it rhymed, it was sick. Next thing you know, another one added a line. That line was on time and that rhymed and that was sick. Third time was a charm. After 15 minutes, we had a full song.
Only live once, but my soul is forever.
Was like one of them things. Sitting up late nights, had big dreams. A couple years later, screaming money ain't a thing. This is my reality, but it's not what it seems. Yeah, this stuff is hard, but I make it look easy.
I was always interested in writing. I was more interested actually in music. Like I was into singing, I was into dance, I was into acting, theatre. But where I grew up, those things aren't socially acceptable activities for a boy to be into. When hip hop came along, well, not when it came along, when I discovered it thanks to a friend of mine, it just spoke to me straight away because the people in the music were talking very literally about their experience, and it was the emotional resonance of it.
Bingo wings over Scotland, this is a little grim. Cloaking all my illicit sins in an insignificant rhythmic din. No bad for a kid that used to live in a bin. In truth, I'm sitting here on Twitter in my pants with 7 chins. Poverty Safari out now, go check it out. Peace.
I got bored one day, I opened again the software, and basically I made my first drums, but totally was by mistake. Like seriously, totally by mistake. I didn't know how I made it. And it was actually those simple drums like Dr. Dre. Like seriously, that was the first thing, and I had that impact. I had such a big impact that I made my first drums. And basically, I remember my mom, she was cooking, and I went to my mom in the kitchen. I was like, "Yo, mom, come listen to this." And she was like, "No, dirty hands." She was like, cooking something. And she came and she was like, "Yo, listen, I made this." And she was like, "Okay, cool." I mean, she wasn't. I don't know. She was like, it wasn't nothing special for anybody. I was just like some simple drums. And she was like, "Yeah, cool, whatever." And she went back. And after that, I started like adding, by the time, some piano, some bass lines, some, all those things. And after I started learning about mixing, mastering, and until this time.
I think the most important advice I would ever give to a young person is truly love what you do and work hard. Nothing is ever going to be handed to you on a plate. You have to work hard and you have to love what you do, otherwise you're not going to be able to last all of the difficulties that you'll face in any industry. You have to love it 100% and work as hard as you possibly can. I think that's what I'd say to any young person. And don't be afraid to be different, and don't compare yourself to others around you. They've all got their path and you'll have your own, and patience, a lot of patience.
For me, I think staying true to yourself and being 100% with everything you do, being honest, being a hard worker, that's what's going to get you recognised. So,
I would probably say be yourself, completely be yourself, unconditionally, but also be willing to change. If you're not willing to change, it's a very rigid situation, so there's not much that anyone can do. You know, if you're not willing to change, don't pigeonhole yourself. If you are in one box, you cannot go to other boxes, if you understand. So my advice to you would be free, but be willing to change so that you're flexible with the environment within the Scottish industry, because it's small, everyone knows each other, you know, forget about the cliques. If you're not in the clique, that's probably a good thing.
If you want to do it, if you want to chase it really, really hard, you have to take the risk.
If you want to pursue something as a career, I think usually the career aspect happens naturally if it begins with a compulsion to do the thing that you're doing. What I mean by that is, I don't always have time to make music, I don't always have time to write, I don't always have the energy to do a lot of the things that I do, but I have a compulsion to do it. It's like blinking, or sleeping, or going to the bathroom. These are things that whether I want to do them or not, I have to do them.
It's hard to think of. I think the biggest achievement actually is having so many people playing music, enjoying music, and continuing to play music after they leave the classes. Once I stop teaching, they continue playing. And we had St Roch's Ceilidh Band had our 40th anniversary this year, and we brought back musicians from 4 decades, the 80s, 90s and the hundreds and the tens. And for the finale we had over 100 musicians on stage.
Okay, I'm going to do Gal Like Me, right? From Damaged Music, right?
Yeah.
He gon' die with a gal like me. He gon' die with a gal like me. A bad gal from 1990. He gon' die with a gal like me. Glasgow to Ghana, yeah. Stacey, she a fire, eh. I got my fire, I got my wedding dress and my cup of tea. I didn't need a wedding dress. It's the music industry in Scotland is like, it's got different sides to it. It's multifaceted. There is a side of it which is underground, where everyone's gigging regularly for free or for alcohol, and for example getting, in my opinion, exposed, where there's different situations been where people get gigged, they don't get the slot, you know. But on the other side of it, you've got like DF concerts, you've got so many good companies who are actually supporting our acts. So when it comes to the culture mixed with the music business in Scotland, I feel it's like maybe a couple of months after being buried the seed, you know, that sunflower is yet to grow. Although the stem's there, you know, it looks like a sunflower, it's just not blossomed yet.
You know, Scotland, I think, has a very healthy scene. I think, particularly for what I do, I don't think there's too much of an audience for exactly what it is I'm trying to achieve. That's why I'm always on the move all the time, going to different countries, seeing different cities and connecting, because it's all about, you know, you get your inspiration from being on the move and meeting different people.
Combined with the culture?
Yeah.
Well, I think culturally, right now, it's at a good point. There's a meeting of many cultures. More so, I think enough cultures that are or can call Scotland and Glasgow home have had enough time to meet and interact and grow and develop. Now, you know, they're all at pretty good places. I think things are definitely happening, and there's space for even more growth. It's just conducive conditions for many people right now. It's a good time.
In Scotland, then, the arts and the sort of cultural sector is getting a little bit better. I think, like most sort of aspects of professions, then tends to be people who come from better off backgrounds will dominate, you know, media, journalism, the arts. Though over the last few years we've seen a lot of a shift in terms of things like gender or race or people with disabilities, trying to think more about how can we remove some of the barriers for people who are trying to operate within a sector that's traditionally been dominated by a certain type of man, usually a white man. And although I am a white man and enjoy a certain level of privilege because of that, I also come from quite a disadvantaged background, so there are specific barriers for people like me as well. And I think that the arts are getting a bit better at not being defensive when this stuff is pointed out, and trying to work with people constructively to figure out how can we change some of the goalposts a little bit to increase access, for two reasons. One, you need institutions and sectors in the economy to reflect the population. So if it's just all white middle class people, that doesn't really reflect the wider population in Scotland. And secondly, by reflecting the audience accurately and representing people, then more people from those backgrounds will become interested in the arts, because they'll start to think it's something for them. If you're just seeing white middle class people doing certain things, then you start subconsciously thinking, oh, that must be a thing only a white middle class person does. That was what it was like for me in my book. I just thought people like me don't write books, and that was the big battle that I had internally when I was doing it. So I think things are getting better, but there's a long way to go.
You ain't seen it, I've been f***ing up arenas. I'm with double them the G's, we the motherfuckers, independence in the long time. You paying on me, pick the wrong time. Long line for them mink dragon, new bin wagon, blood dripping on me, looking like a climb up your chest, your vest, your couch, I'm with Khaled, the best.
I think it depends on your hard work and what you're aiming to give out there. Like, I don't think it's about making it worldwide whatsoever. It's what you're doing to make a difference with people that you've got in your lives right now. Do you know what I mean? Because for me, it's like, you can still make it wherever you are, as long as you're pushing in, as long as you're committed, as long as you're consistent. For me, that's all about making it. So it depends as well what you mean by making it worldwide, like in what term.
Aye. So I'm posting up the...
Nobody does it. It's like you have a ground full of diamonds, but nobody knows about those diamonds until one person dig the ground, they find like all the diamonds.
So you're saying even still being in Scotland as a producer,
Yeah,
you still hit the
I think it's the best place.
It's the best place to be.
Because I really think I have a special sound. Like my sound is quite unique, and I'm still working on it. And my next song is gonna be way much better, and I'm gonna sign with better and better and better and better labels.
Because we have the internet, and you can speak to someone who's in Australia at the touch of a button, or someone in Belgium, or someone in France, or anywhere in the world, it doesn't really matter where you are now. I do think though it can be quite limiting if you're not around people that are trying to encourage you to do better and putting yourself in positions where new opportunities and doors can open. So I think Scotland has its limitations, there's no question about it, but equally at the same time it's a great stepping stone with plenty of opportunities which lie in Edinburgh, Glasgow. Glasgow's music scene is extremely healthy and diverse.
Well, I think for me, Lady Boss, it's the best thing that I could have, because there is no other Scottish female rapper doing what I'm doing. So, if I was English, I would have washed away by now, and amongst all the other English, because you've got Stefflo and Dawn, you've got, look, think about this. So being Scottish to me is my USP. It's my unique selling point. Being in Scotland, right enough. So being in Scotland for other people might be hard, but being in Scotland for me is absolutely amazing, because guess what? We are Scotland.
My perspective and the way I look at the situation is Scotland is home and base for now. So we're setting up our foundation here, which will allow us to be able to go everywhere and anywhere else at any point for whatever reason. That's the goal and the dream, and then do the similar thing there. So right now we're setting up our base and our foundation here for Glasgow, for Scotland.
For me, the big breakout moment has been my book, and then I very consciously, once the book was a success in the UK, and so for a Scottish writer, England is like the international market. Like if you can break into the English market, your sales go up, media coverage expands. Like I can tell from looking at my socials, if I do a show like Question Time or Radio 4, my Twitter blows up in a way that not even the biggest backlash in Scotland from social media would ever happen. So you start to get a sense of, right, okay, these are the spaces I want to try and get in if I'm trying to raise awareness of what I'm doing. But also very consciously, I've tried to make sure that I'm also bringing my music to the forefront of everything that I'm doing. You know, I still want to be introduced as an MC, as a hip hop artist, because I am, and I still feel like I'm carrying the torch. One of many people who's carrying the torch for hip hop in Scotland. And you know, the Fringe show that I done there, 4,000 people came to see that, and the majority of them weren't hip hop fans and weren't rap fans. So you've got to be kind of clever about how you do it, know the audience and know where you can push them and where you have to pull back. But in terms of the international audience, I mean, I'm booked to go to Australia in March. I'm going, I've just sold the international book rights to have the book translated into Spanish and Latin American. And I get messages from all around the world just now, which indicates to me that the book is spreading slowly. And that means wherever the market opens up for me, I'll be going there with the music as well, because it's all the one package, really.
As a branch of Cultus in Glasgow, I suppose some of the achievements that I've personally been involved in would be getting a third place in the Senior Gaelic Bands in 2014. And last year we were fortunate enough to win the Senior Grippy Kyoto competition as well, which was a great achievement for the brand.
It's great, yeah. We go over most years, and we tend to go over in a big pack and kind of stick together, and it's really good to be able to represent Glasgow and Scotland, and the music scene's so great in Glasgow, the Scottish music, and it's really good to take some of that over. Obviously it's predominantly Irish that we do play when we're over there, but it's good to represent Glasgow and the music that's going strong here.
A few have done pretty well. John McCusker is quite big time now in traditional music. Paddy Callaghan, Young Musician of the Year a few years ago, is now very well known on the scene. Kevin O'Neill plays with Treacherous Orchestra. So there's a few of them have done well in that area. There's others who play on a regular basis in Ceilidh bands and in music sessions all over the city and beyond.
Obviously I've now started taking my wee boy to primary school, and the music teacher met me and he's like, "Oh, I've heard about you and blah blah, would you come and perform in the school?" I'm like, "Aye, of course." Well, I didn't think it through. Of course I didn't think it through. Because now, going to somewhere like the Co-op, all the kids from that school now know my music. So they're shouting, "Shorty won $1 million!" And I'm like, oh. You know, so I'm trying to inspire those young kids who are in the school to stick in. You know, that they things I never done. So sticking in at the school, you know, listening to that music teacher because he knows his stuff, you know. Getting the notepads, back to what would you do if like for advice, giving them the same advice, getting the notepad, getting the instrumentals, getting the guitar, doing actually what you want to do, being free, you know, and having belief, you know. And what I'm trying to do for the youth and myself is, I was banned from all Bible class when I was a wee girl, excluded from all the schools in Falkirk, ended up leaving school with no qualifications. You know, I've been through so much in education that I want to inspire them that now I've got a degree, you know what I mean?
You're going to see enough of the team, if not the whole team. You know, there's different stages of development. You know, people do different things, but those that can do things to get involved will definitely be there. You know, this year's been a good year for young people. Our South Forge were featured in a Eventbrite 25 under 25 young creatives putting on, you know, things, which was good as well for us and for Glasgow, for Scotland.
I have a song which we're supposed to record with Luis Scope. I hope we're gonna do this because I got really gassed on that one. I have one with Justice. I have one with G.
Yes.
I have one with Sean Reed.
Yes.
I have so many songs with Ransom Method. He's like, this guy, I love him so much.
I think Year of the Young People's a good initiative. For me, every year of my life's been a year for the young people. Since I was a young person, I've been volunteering in my community. I got my first job on a youth project. I ran a youth project for a few years with young people that I collaborated with to create a studio like this, basically for them to go and record music and also take control of their own destiny. And a lot of the people that I worked with back then have got into the Scottish music scene. They're in bands, they've done quite well, establishing themselves, and I learned a lot from them. But it's easy to forget what it's like to be a young person, or to become dismissive of the challenges or concerns that young people face. So I think the best way to be mindful of that is to always keep an ear on the ground in terms of that community, which means being around young people, whether it's, for me, visiting schools. I mean, I've done 2 or 3 school visits this fortnight. Out in Fife, I was out in Stirling, did one in Hamilton. Just going to like prize givings, kids prize givings, you know, celebrating their achievements, whether it's academic, whether it's community related stuff or personal stuff, handing out prizes. You get a real insight into, you know, the success stories and also the challenges that people face.
Yeah, I signed myself out of the hospital. I was that scared. When I got diagnosed, they did lumbar punctures in my spine to make sure I didn't have meningitis or that. And once I found that out, I left the hospital and I didn't want to go back. I was scared because they said I would never talk again. So I could never imagine myself never talking. So it took months for them to get me back in for the operation. And that's why there was so long between the diagnosis and operation. But I would say it was the best thing that ever happened to me.
So struggles, the main struggle would be probably trying to find a place to train. Do you know what I mean? That's one of the struggles that a lot of dancers have. It's like you want to train for fun, but there's nowhere to go, and sometimes it's all about the money. Do you know what I mean? And some people can't afford to be able to go to classes and stuff. So I think that'll probably be the main struggle, especially for kids. I feel like a lot of them are forgotten about, and that's where I decided to step in and take that kind of route to help them out.
Challenges you face, a lot of the things you need to do on your own. You got to have courage and undeniable drive to succeed at what it is you want to do.
It can be challenging, but it's all just been a learning process. Like, this has been the first 3-4 years of Forge operating and, you know, learning what we're doing, what we're about, so how we're doing it, and, you know, what we're trying to do. And it's all just been learning and growing pains, you know. So now you learn a few things, you know, tricks of the trade, you know. But it's been not so challenging because the way we've gone about it is we've just done it ourselves in our own way, you know. Self-funded, self-sourced, interacting and collaborating with people at similar levels, you know.
I mean, personal challenges obviously include, and still to some degree include, the fact that I've had addiction issues, alcoholism, mental health problems. For a lot of time in my life I had residential instability, periods of homelessness. So when you're consumed by surviving at that level, it's very hard to think long term about careers and education and how you're going to fund what you're doing and how you're going to survive. But even then, I was still always writing and I was still always performing.
I think every industry has its challenges, whether it's the film, entertainment, even going into medicine. It's never a walk in the park. I mean, we've had a lot of challenges our way, but I think what has been a bonus for us is we're in it together. We're not two individuals, we're not two solo artists, we are a duo and we are sisters. So we do have each other in these moments, which is good to have.
Well, never give up, first of all, and always just keep on going. Even if you think it's really hard, just keep on going and you'll get there eventually.
In the dance world, there is a lot, right? I don't even know where to start. You know, everybody would tell you, oh no, Michael Jackson inspires me, this, that. You know, he's like the pioneer, he's like the main guy, you know what I mean? Yeah. But I would say it depends, because for me, my biggest inspiration would be my mother. Because I feel like she's taught me a lot about life, and that's the kind of road I'm pursuing as a dancer and as a person as well through life. So everything she's taught me is kind of building the person I am today. So it's more than just dances.
Well, I think I've got two. One, my teacher Kevin Murphy, and Phil Cunningham. You might know him.
In real life, I'm gonna say there's a few different people that inspire me. There's a couple of friends which inspire me for how hard they work and I see what they do. In the entertainment business, no question of a doubt, Conor McGregor is probably up there as the number one for me in terms of inspiration. He is the true example of what hard work looks like.
So in real life, in real life, I'd probably say people like Beverly Lyons and things like that. She's obviously in a good position in her life. She's surrounded by a lot of celebrities. She does a lot of celebrity stories and all that. But she's good in there. She's down to earth and she's so human.
Basically, obviously Dr. Dre, yeah. And not from music only, but from his business mind as well.
My inspirations are mostly musicians or people involved in the music industry as well. I think Kanye West and good music have been very, the way they move is very much on point. You just have to know how to, you have to know how to understand. You have to be accommodating and take it in.
We are lucky to meet musicians on a regular basis, and we have both grown up learning through very inspiring people. My violin teacher at school, Andrea Gaich, was one of the most inspirational women that I've ever met. Same with my head of strings at the Royal College of Music, Mark Messenger, who coached both of us through our album recordings and ended up conducting the orchestra on our album. We meet very inspirational people on a regular basis through the work that we do, and we're so lucky to constantly watch them in their field and be inspired by them, and hopefully one day we will be those people to the younger generation.
And also non-musicians, we have to mention that, of course, I find him very inspiring. He's not a musician, he's a surgeon, and he's a pioneer in his field, and he works so hard, and he's very well respected in the industry. And yeah, I look up to him a lot and hope that we can kind of learn a few things on the way.
Inspiration for me, I'm always inspired by artists in the hip hop community, whether it be artists that came before me, Mr. Bose, that's one that I'm always inspired by. I like his fact he's been doing it for so long. There's been so many different phases of his output, whether it was the beginning and the kind of Britcore, hardcore sounding stuff, and then Two Tone Committee, and then the Sentinelles stuff, and then more recently his solo output. Well, basically, he's art directing his whole shit. He's art directing, he does his own artwork, he does his own PR campaigns. He obviously has a very strong visual eye for his own music videos. Even his style, just the way he looks. I'm not saying he consciously is orchestrating a public image, but whatever his instincts are, from his decision of what to wear in the morning to how his music should sound, they're all coherent. They're all part of a vision that he's got for himself and his music. Even just coming here to this space and seeing what you're building here, and I always see you guys active on social media, promoting what you're doing, always reaching out to me. I'm always so busy, it's hard to always get back, but even just that is inspiring, because I know you guys are facing your own challenges and probably have all through the years, especially growing up in a community like this. So I just try to be open to all the inspiration, because you really need it sometimes to push you through.